Now on Denver 7 News at 5 a.m., a 22-year-old Colorado student killed in a crash in West Texas is being remembered for his passion for sports, school, and life.
He packed more in 22 years than most people pack in 92 years.
Now investigators are revealing who was behind the wheel in the deadly crash.
Firefighters in Kyiv putting out flames at an apartment complex shelled by Russian troops. It's the latest attack on civilians in Ukraine. Now President Biden is getting ready to tell China's president to stay out of it and give no aid to Vladimir Putin.
March Madness is breaking hearts and brackets. The CSU Rams are already out of the big dance after a disappointing loss to Michigan. The team's head coach and star player, though, are looking to next season, so we'll hear from them. Also, the CU Buffs women's team is ready to prove themselves. We'll talk to the players before they take on Creighton later this morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Brady.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. After a slush fest of a morning commute yesterday, we're drying out a little bit and warming up across the front range. Lisa Hidalgo with your weekend forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty nice weekend. Right now, chilly though. As soon as skies cleared out overnight, those temperatures really started to drop. It's 19 in Denver. Feels like just 7, so you're going to see some single-digit wind chills out there early on, but you can see clear skies. Lots of sunshine in store this morning, and things are going to warm up a lot faster. We'll be finally above freezing by about 10 o'clock, low 40s by lunch, and then we'll tack on another 8 to about 10 degrees by this afternoon. Highs will be right around 50 here in town. So quite a bit warmer over the eastern plains. In the mountains, you're going to find more 30s right in through the ski resorts, but sunshine there. Now at this point, everything is dry. We are tracking more snow. It's going to hit the mountains starting Sunday. We'll see more snow down here on Monday. It is March, typically our snowiest month. We'll show you where we stand so far this season after yesterday's storm collect coming up.
And if you are going northbound on 225 this morning, I want you to be aware of a crash that happened. It's right now in the left shoulder up here up top. Make sure you slow down and move over if you are driving right by that. Let's take a look at the map so you can see exactly where that is. So that is right there on the map, just in case you need to conceptualize it a little bit. Now your drive times to and from the airport looking good this morning. I did check security times as well. Some looking better than others. I would check that. Maybe use the North Security, just a little tip right there. Now some construction projects as well. That Central 70 project is underway. They're reconstructing a 10-mile stretch of I-70, so be aware of that. Also 17th, both eastbound and westbound is closed between Harrison and Colorado Boulevard. That should reopen at the end of March. Drive times in the metro, though, you're looking good this morning.
All right, Colette, thanks. Investigators say the driver who caused a horrific crash in West Texas was just 13 years old. The vehicle crashed into a van carrying members of the University of the Southwest men's and women's golf teams.
9 people were killed, including 22-year-old Jackson Zinn from Westminster. Denver 7's Veronica ACOSTA joining us live. And Veronica, his life was cut short, but he's leaving a big legacy behind.
He was the person that made you feel better if you were around him. This is just one of the many ways that Jackson Zinn's pastor described him. A young man who said it was fun, loved interacting with those around him, and of course loved his mom, dad, and sisters.
He was bigger than life. I mean, he was just a loving, compassionate, driven, competitive, wonderful young man. You'll be hard-pressed to find anything about him that isn't positive.
And that's Rick Long, the lead pastor at Grace Church. He says Jackson's parents called him about Jackson's death Tuesday at 3 in the morning. He said he stayed on that phone call with those parents, listening, crying, praying with them. They talked about his love for golf and the bond that built between him and his dad. Despite being broken about Jackson's death, Long said the family took the time to reminisce about their son and brother. And now he said it's time for his ministry to take a step up to support Jackson's family as they navigate what comes next, because he said the real challenge in loving people comes after the memorial. And that memorial service, it's being planned for Jackson at Grace Church. That's going to be over in Arvada, and that'll be held this weekend. In studio, Veronica ACOSTA, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. Turning now to the war in Ukraine. At 7 o'clock our time, President Biden is scheduled to tell his Chinese counterpart not to assist Russia in any way or risk sanctions. Overnight, Russia fired 6 missiles at the western city of Lviv. The city is near the Polish border and has been relatively untouched by Russian attacks. Ukraine's military says of the 6 missiles fired, it intercepted 2. Lviv has become the main gathering place for displaced displaced Ukrainians. An estimated 200,000 people who fled their homes have moved into the city, hoping to eventually make their way to the border. U.S. officials saying Ukraine's military resistance is stalling Russian troops from advancing on the ground. Russian troops haven't made any progress towards Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, since last Friday. Now, the Kremlin is relying on longer-range missile systems in order to do damage across the country. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says he agrees with President Biden that Russia is committing war crimes by intentionally targeting civilians. He worries Moscow might be setting the stage to use a chemical weapon and will falsely blame Ukraine to justify escalating its attacks. And this morning, we're hearing from a Colorado man and his Ukrainian wife who are staying in Lviv now. Joe and Dasha Reimers have been helping others with food, transportation, and housing. They spoke with CNN last night. Dasha's parents and grandmother are in Mariupol, an area that has been heavily targeted by the Russians. Well, this week, Russians bombed a theater there, being used as a shelter for hundreds. They spoke to Dasha's dad.
So we know that they're fine the moment we talk to them, and then after that we wait until we hear from them again. But when we talked to him yesterday, he said it was a miracle that God was protecting them, but it's a miracle that they're all still alive.
Dasha's family is staying in a church in Mariupol where they are caring for some of the elderly who couldn't leave. Dasha says she's proud to be Ukrainian and proud of all of those who are fighting for their country.
Boulder County leaders will head to court today with the group questioning how the county chose the contractor to lead the Marshall Fire debris removal. The group is no longer standing in the way of the county signing a contract with the company, but it still wants to question county leaders how they arrived at the decision to hire that particular company. Another community group, Marshall Together, has also filed a motion so the court can hear fire victims' concerns. And the deadline is approaching to apply for disaster assistance if you were affected by the Marshall Fire. Boulder County says March 31st is the last day to apply. This is for people whose homes were damaged or destroyed, or for people who were displaced because of smoke or ash contamination. The county will give out financial aid by appointment through April 22nd. You can find a link to apply on Boulder County's website.
The CU women's team is getting their first March Madness test today. The 7-seed Buffs are taking on 10-seed Crichton for round 1 of the NCAA tournament. The team is ready to show their competitors what their program has become.
We wanted to put Colorado back on the map of being, that national championship stage, and this is what kids dream about, playing basketball, coming to the NCAA tournament, and just doing big things. So hopefully this is our first step.
They did a wonderful job building us from the ground up, and I think Maya and the veterans, we worked really hard together as a unit to grow the culture and to grow the program. I think it helped us also grow into young women that we are today.
Tip-off is at 11:30 this morning from Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa. Unfortunately, the CSU Rams are out in the first round. The Rams originally led Michigan by 7 points at the half, but the Wolverines found their stride in the second half. CSU's season came to a crashing halt with a 75-63 loss. The team's head coach was still able to find a silver lining, though.
When the dust settles for these guys, and they don't want to hear it right now, but it's been an incredible season. I mean, the work that these guys have put in to come in here and believe in us and believe in what we're doing, and to come back to have an incredible season, earn the highest seed in the history of the school, and I think it's just awesome stuff.
For us to do it and flip a team from 12-20 to 25-6 in about 3 years or 4 years is very impressive. Man, I just can't wait till the off season and we're getting back together and trying to do this again.
Here's an upset that busted a lot of brackets. Number 2 seed Kentucky got knocked out of the first round by St. Peter's University. The Peacocks became the 10th ever number 15 seed to eliminate a number 2 seed from the tournament. Now, if you're wondering, St. Peter's is a private Jesuit university in Jersey City, New Jersey. The team's next opponent is 7 seed Murray State University from Kentucky tomorrow night.
That's why I don't do brackets anymore, because there's always an upset like that in the first round. Well, we're 1 month away from the tax deadline. If you still haven't filed, we are breaking down 3 credits that could get you an even bigger refund.
And I'm wrapping up our spring break staycation series with a familiar favorite, the new attractions coming to the Denver Zoo.